synergizes like 1 + 1 can become 11. तो नारायण मूर्ति ने एक बार बोला कि only 3% engineers are employable. How people can be satisfied? What happens when people are satisfied? What happens when people are not satisfied? So you can bring administrative reforms, but change will not happen. Everyone reaches late. Prime Minister भी लेट ही जाते हैं. This Parliament भी लेट ही चलता है. पूरा कल्चर ही लेट का है. A leader is one who should accept responsibility. Moral does not mean just taking responsibility. Moral means also right. We are now going to behavioral essays. Many people, some people, those who do not study, they will tell Chester Barnard as father of behavioral school. This बार हमें in one answer I saw that. तो आजकल जैसे कि कार्ल मार्क्स came after Max Weber. This तो इस तरह के भी आंसर्स होते हैं. इंटरेस्टिंग ये है कि दे आर राइटिंग मेंस. दिस तो उसके पहले उन्होंने क्या पढ़ा था, गॉड नोज. राइट. एनीहाउ, so you can see the list of contributions, so you'll find some different things, isn't it? This so far we talked, although yes, he has also one classical wala authority, let's say this, he talks, but then he'll try to bring some different things what he will talk. And we ask this question, this year test, role of a leader. So Barnard leadership has been asked 2 times as PYQ, especially moral angle 2 times. अगर आप किसी भी सीनियर से बात करोगे तो they will talk more about PYQs. They are obsessed with PYQs. This our toppers भी बोलते हैं PYQs solve करो. और ये PYQ से ही क्वेश्चन भी आस्क, बट सब लोगों ने ये सारा लिखा इसको छोड़कर. जिसको पता है उन्होंने लिखा है, बट बाकी लोगों ने क्या किया कि ये सब कुछ लिखा. दे डिड नॉट राइट दैट. दिस इज नॉलेज अबाउट PYQ. Right. Anyhow, we will not start on a negative note. Let's start on a positive note. Right. No, सुबह क्या negative बात करना है, isn't it? So Barnard, let's say, he will give you positivity. So he has a very inspiring story, you know that, Chester Barnard. He started working as a clerk, very, let's say, bottom level, belonging to a very nominal family. He got admission in Harvard, but he had to quit to pursue a job for economic support. So that much he had nominal aspect of family. He had to quit Harvard. You know, हमारे यहाँ से लोग जाते हैं. This, he had to quit for economic support. That was Chester Barnard. He rose to become, there is a Eon Bell company in US. अब तो पुराने हो गए थोड़े ये सारे companies. The Eon Bell company, that he became head of that company. Then there is a Rockefeller Institute in US. He headed it 2 times. This very renowned institution it is. Rockefeller का सिर्फ उसमें नाम आना बहुत ही मुश्किल है. तो he presided 2 times, became head of that. And he became member of US Atomic Energy Commission. This, he had government experience also. So you can imagine that a person who has experience of working at clerical level, from clerical level to struggling to this, reaching to such high level. And on the basis of that organizational experience, he, let's say that, gave all these contributions. This, so it is like Taylor, it is like Henry Fayol, Gully Kurwick. This, then he had experience. Even Mayo also had experience. It was only Mary Parker Follett who did not enjoy that big support as institutional support जिसको बोला जाता है. He contributed all blah blah things. You should know he did not have graduation degree. He did not have graduation degree, but he was awarded doctorate degrees. This without graduation degrees. This which hardly matters, isn't it? Anyhow, that is Chester Barnard. This. So therefore, he will look already. Let's say that we had a classical approach, behavioral. Let's say beginning in terms of human relation. He was aware about developments happening at Hawthorne plant. This, and he kept himself informed because that was very interesting development. In history, you should know that. Hawthorne experiments are considered among the most important experiments for social sciences. Not only for, let's say, psychology, for sociology, it is, let's say, for any social science, they are considered very important. Because they change the course of the history, this is how it is said. The way you look, the way you think about human behavior, they change that. And he himself kept informing. Try to understand there is a difference between being aware, kept informing, and making them as foundation for his theory. So yesterday I was checking one copy. So I found one student is writing, Chester Barnard. This Chester Barnard he was writing. He formulated his theory on the basis of Mary Parker Follett and Elton Mayo theories. ठीक है, तो बच्चे ने मतलब उसको अपना वाला ऐड कर दिया उसको जो उसको समझ में आ रहा है. These are very sensitive. Anyhow, तो just to keep sharing, let's say, because इस समय मेंस चल रहा होता है तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें माइंड में होती हैं, तो we keep sharing that. So he certainly he will not focus on structural side. Already there were, let's say, that the contributions by classical approach, others, and he kept informed. He will focus more at, let's say, he will go further depth of the organization. Basically, Elton Mayo role was that he showed that, see, this is the relevance of human behavior, which they did not know in beginning. You know, it was hit and trial. In beginning, when they started experiment, they did not know how human behavior plays role. Even they were not clear. They had their hypothesis. They realized during the course of the experiment this. But when by 30s and early 40s, it became clear that human behavior plays important role. This, and we need to look into this. That was difference between human relation theory and behavioral theory. This, behavioral thinkers, they knew that human behavior plays important role. But human relation thinkers, they did not know how behavior plays important role. This is a major difference. This, so when they know human behavior plays important role, they will be more deliberate, they will be more planned, and they will look into different aspects of human behavior. But when human relation thinkers did not know, that they will be more reactionary. This, they will not be prepared for that. They will just raise significance of some of the human factors. This means where human relation theory leaves the thing, they will take it forward. That is the difference. And हम लोग इस तरह से मतलब चिल्ला करके तो नहीं, बहुत काफ़ी डिटेल में आपको बता रहे हैं, पिछले वाले बैच को भी बताते हैं. बट बच्चों को जब लिखना होता है आंसर, आज तक मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट्स दे डोंट नो हाउ टू राइट डिफरेंस बिटवीन ह्यूमन रिलेशन थियरी एंड बिहेवियरल थियरी. दिस, एंड इट इज वन आल्सो PYQ, राइट? तो वी आस्क दिस ईयर आल्सो, गैप देकर के पूछते रहते हैं हम लोग, इसलिए कि वो रिपीट हो जाता है. तो मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट डोंट नो, दे राइट गॉड ऑफ स्मॉल थिंग. मेरा अपना लैंग्वेज है बोलने का. God of small thing means unnecessary thing they write. स्मॉल कंपैरिजन, तो एक बार्नार्ड का पॉइंट ले लेंगे, एक मेयो का बोलेंगे, देखो ये डिफरेंस है, राइट, बट डिफरेंस ये नहीं है, डिफरेंस जो हमने अभी बताया, राइट, दैट इज हाउ यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो बिहेवियरल थिंकर चेस्टर बार्नार्ड इज फर्स्ट बिहेवियरल थिंकर, this, and he has gone into quite, let's say, depth aspect of organization, and you will see what he has gone through, and he will talk about whatever the things this. Now, while dealing and experiencing organization, you should know that कि Mary Parker Fuller told that कि organization is a social system. So Barnard will take one step ahead of that, and he will say that it is a cooperative social system. So he will view organization as cooperative social system. This. So even he goes and defining organization. This Follett, Mayo, they did not define organization. What is organization? This, they dealt certain aspect. This is selectively, but he goes and defining organization also, and he defines organization. और ये भी कभी का एक PYQ है, राइट, दे हैव आस्क्ड दिस डेफिनेशन. तो कॉन्शियस कोऑर्डिनेटिव एक्टिविटीज ऑफ 2 or more persons. This, so conscious and coordinative. So basically he brings, let's say, dynamic nature of organization. This, and this rejects organization as main material, and this Barnard rejects, let's say, 3M of Taylor. Taylor consider organization is about main material and machines. This, but he says, you know, it is a dynamic organization. Now, he, let's say, takes into consideration systems perspective. अब सिस्टम व्यू क्या है? Gestalt, this plus, let's say कि system view means ecology, environment. Ecology environment means ये geography वाला नहीं, isn't it? Ecology environment मतलब जो ORN का एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हो, नो, वहाँ का एनवायरनमेंट कैसा है, लेट पूछते हैं ना पेरेंट्स, और कैसा माहौल है, दिस, it is social, political, no, this. So ecology, environment, systems view, Gestalt psychology it is. Yes, anything, any doubt? We will explain it, ki what is this. See, you don't know that ki when you are applying efforts, so what will be its cascading effects. You know that? You do not know. But you are waiting for, praying for, no, God से pray कर रहे होते आप कि कुछ तो करो आप, isn't it? कहाँ सोए हुए हो? This cascading effects. cascading effects that कि when you are applying efforts एक certain level के बाद it synergizes. This the synergizes like 1 plus 1 can become 11. This is how it is. That is how he is trying to bring this. And the system perspective will continue from here to till system theory, chapter 4. So let's see what he is trying to say. We'll come to this. He has taken into consideration that any organization exists in its own environment. So Mary Parker Foley just told that work is a way of life, it belongs to the society, but she did not go much details about that. But he is going on details of that. Any organization is existing in its environment, and when it is existing in its environment, so it is constrained by that environment. Environment will impose limitations on that organization. This he finds. This, and he gave 3 such limitations which organization is going to face: physical, biological, and social, which will explain you in course of time. Simple, let's say कि any organization, like आप Delhi में हो, तो in that Delhi, let's say कि it imposes limitations on you. One is कि its environment itself, like let's say कि pollution level जो आने वाला है 1-2 महीने के बाद. दूसरा है fooding behavior, isn't it? This खासकर साउदर्न इंडिया के लोगों के लिए, नॉर्थ इंडिया वालों को तो हैबिट है समोसा पकौड़ा खाने का, isn't it? तो isn't it? नॉर्थ इंडिया में 2 चीज़ पॉपुलर है, वन इज समोसा, दूसरा इज ब्रेड पकौड़ा. ठीक है, दोनों बहुत ही हानिकारक होता है, बट नॉर्थ इंडिया के लोग काफ़ी स्ट्रांग होते हैं लगता है. This, the friend of mine, that's not from southern state but from Odisha, he used to hate this culture of samosa and bread pakoda. Right? Unfortunately, he had to do job in that culture. Right? This, anyhow, forget about that. What we are trying to say is that it imposes limitation. This, तो when it imposes limitation, similarly any organization is, हमारे यहाँ सबसे बड़ा limitation किसी भी organization के लिए क्या है? Can you identify in our country any common limitation or problem which all organizations face generally? Communication. No, due to environment in which they exist. India as a country, let's say, what they face? Quality of human resource. Right? We have huge human resource, but we don't have quality of human resource. We don't have skilled human resource. Yes, and we don't have, what I can tell, a human resource which does not believe in cut and paste. Right? Even we also face this. छोटा सा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जब फेस करता है, बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की बात छोड़ो. ठीक है, तो नारायण मूर्ति ने एक बार बोला है कि only 3% इंजीनियर्स आर एम्प्लॉयबल. तो that is limitation. So this is one social limitation, you know that. This कि जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है आपका, सोसाइटी जो प्रोड्यूस करती है ह्यूमन रिसोर्स, वो उस तरह से स्किल्ड नहीं है जो चाहिए. दिस, दैट्स वाई व्हाट यू डू, आप इंजीनियरिंग के बाद खुद से कोई कोर्स ज्वाइन करते हो अपना स्किल अपडेट करने के लिए, राइट, ताकि जॉब मिल जाए. Isn't it? This, नहीं तो जॉब तो भाई बीटेक के बाद ही मिलना था, कोर्स करने की क्या जरूरत है. तो that is a gap. Right? So this is one limitation of organization. Right? This, तो कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज फेसिंग चैलेंज. आप इसरो को ले लो, उनके लिए तो और भी चैलेंज है. उनको सिर्फ स्किल्ड नहीं चाहिए, पेट्रियोटिक भी चाहिए. नो वैसे हम लोग बहुत पेट्रियाटिक है बोलने के लिए। एनी हाउ, इसलिए कि कोई भी इंजीनियर इसरो में तो जाएगा नहीं, राइट, लेफ्ट ओवर्स विल गो, isn't it? बिकॉज किसी का ड्रीम तो है नहीं कि आई हैव टू वर्क इन इसरो, बिकॉज एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम ऑल्सो वर्क इन दैट, राइट। ऐसा तो हमने बच्चों को नर्चर किया ही नहीं, उसको तो दिख रहा है कि वो दिस गूगल हेड इज इंडियन। Anyhow, let's take this. So any organization is facing, you know, that one limitation. It is a common limitation. This. So if it is not getting quality of human resource, it will struggle this way. Next is called raw material. Input of organization, the raw material, that is called physical limitation. This. You know that ki many a time raw materials, etc., basically whatever the input, they may be not getting it. This, that way. So that you can consider. Then biological you can consider. The biological can be linked to, let's say, ki human, basically, let's say that. Ki level of their, let's say, ki perception, thinking, that aspect you can consider like. So there can be, let's say, simple, let's say, limitations posed by environment. Then he say when organization is facing limitations, so you cannot overcome these limitations unless you cooperate. This, and that's why people must cooperate. The cooperate and coordinate will become very main aspect of his organization. No tools and techniques. He say cooperation, coordination. That's why system is, it is cooperative social system. The entire theory will be based on this cooperation. And he will say that you have to ensure that people cooperate. So when people will cooperate? When people are willing to cooperate. How people will be willing to cooperate? When they are satisfied. When you make them happy. This, that is the essence of his theory. This. So he has one thing in this. We have written here, see, contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium model. In this he will tell ki, how people can be satisfied, what happens when people are satisfied, what happens when people are not satisfied. This also you should know that. So this is a theory that teaches a lot about satisfaction level in organization, you know that. Then he will talk, let's just call performance, formal, informal organization. He will not only talk about informal, he is talking also about formal. That is the difference between, another difference between human relation theory and behavioral theory. Human relation theory is rejectionary, it rejects formal aspect. Behavioral thinkers accept formal and over that they build their behavioral aspect. This is, one day we'll teach you difference between human relation behavioral. We teach generally after finishing all the thinkers in chapter 2. This. So this way, then ki acceptance, authority should be, let's say that. So she was talking functional authority. This authority should be functional, but he is giving a different idea about authority. That is, it depends on acceptance. No, parents को तो थोड़ा idea होता है ना कि whether you'll accept their order or not, isn't it? This, anyhow, so we'll talk on them. Then we'll talk on this. That is how he will talk. He will talk about cooperation. He will talk about this contribution satisfaction. So that's why he has adopted, this is called systems view. System view is an open view. Remember that we have told so far in the all three classical thinkers, they consider organization as closed system. This, so when we say they consider organization as closed system, this, so when they say open system, so what is the difference? Closed system is a system that nothing happens inside the organization. This, you take organization something dissociated from its environment, but organization is not dissociated from its environment. This, it is very much part of the environment. So you can bring administrative reforms, but change will not happen. This you should know. It's not कि once people are inside the organization, तो they are just वो चार्ट दे दिया आपने, वो बैठ के काम कर रहा है फटाफट, isn't it? उसका माइंड जो है मशीन है, बट माइंड मशीन तो है नहीं, एक्टिवेट ही नहीं होता है बिना चाह के. Anyhow, so but Taylor think that कि चार्ट आप उसको दे दो, पकड़ा दो, isn't it? and वो लग जाएगा. पता है कि इधर फोन में चैटिंग चल रहा है. This so the question is that कि it is not closed, it is open, right? That's why our culture is coming late and going early, isn't it? हमारे यहाँ सबसे बड़ा कल्चर, मैं भी लेट ही आता हूँ, तो लेट से दैट, बट अर्ली नहीं जाता हूँ. बट आवर्स इज ए कल्चर वेयर वी गो लेट एंड कम. ऑफिस कल्चर जो होता है, आप कैसे ठीक करोगे इसको? हो ही नहीं सकता है. इट इज इन द सोसाइटी, isn't it? क्या 10 मिनट पांडे जी आगे पीछे क्या होता है? ठीक है, 10 मिनट तो लेट आया हूँ, लोग ऐसे बोलेंगे. ठीक है, तो दिस इज व्हाट यू कैन से. एवरीवन रीचेज लेट. प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी लेट ही जाते हैं, दिस है. पार्लियामेंट भी लेट ही चलता है. पूरा कल्चर ही लेट का है. सिर्फ स्कूल वाले लेट नहीं होते हैं, मतलब बच्चे, टीचर नहीं. दिस तो culture you can see. Anyhow, the system is this. This is how it will be affected. He will take it. Then gestalt is something I was saying, 1 + 1 11. Whole is more than sum of its part. This is what he will teach, right? Which will take a bit time to understand. We will try to help you understand this time when we will take contribution satisfaction equilibrium model. His best contribution as far as theory is, that is contribution satisfaction theory. And अगर किसी theory को आप experience करोगे अभी तक, तो you will experience that theory. इसलिए कि whatever the theories were given by so far, they were not theories per se, let's say that. They are just combination of some principles, and then it is, we say it is a theory. This way. By the way, theory is nothing but description of a phenomenon in an organized way. This is how. Theory is description of any phenomenon in an organized way. This, what is organized way? You give description of a theory through principles. Principles are those postulates, you can say this. Some features, you know that. You describe any phenomenon through certain principles. This is called theory, to predict the given context. किसी भी theory का role क्या होता है? Predict करना. It predict human behavior in case of social sciences. In physical sciences, it will predict physical object behavior. This is what theory you can say. So whatever they have given, they were not very synchronized. But when we will take here contribution satisfaction, you will understand what is his imagination, what is his, let's say that theory, you cannot refute it, even if he did not do any experiment. And this is called empirical theory. The empirical does not necessarily mean experimentation. Experimentation and observation, the way Taylor did. Empirical means observation. And on the basis of observation, you formulate a theory which is difficult to refute. And if you cannot refute it, it becomes empirical. Thus, Barnard will give a theory which is difficult to refute. And it is much better than what other thinkers have given. So that is what will apply it. It is very interesting, you should know that, he will talk all these things. And then he will give, let's say that, 3 elements of organization. So 3 elements of organization he will talk. He will talk like common purpose, willingness to cooperate. This. So we can see this that he is not going to impose on you. By writing this willingness to cooperate, he is a person who is not going to impose coercion, the way classical thinkers were talking. Classical thinkers talked about more of coercion, direction, etc. But he will not talk that way. And this, let's say this, when you cooperate, he has even, let's say, analyze human behavior. Behavior is common purpose. We can cooperate only when there is a common purpose. This, if there is any private purpose, then you may not cooperate. This is human behavior tendency. In organization, in school, etc., isn't it? If teacher का personal work होगा तो आप cooperate नहीं करोगे. Common purpose होगा तो you will be willing to cooperate. Right? And cooperation के लिए communication चाहिए. Proper communication. So he will become first thinker to talk also on communication properly. Remember that Mayo realized the significance of communication. Even Henry Fayol also talk on communication. But they did not explain that the way Chester Barnard will explain about communication. That is how taking forward you can consider. And this will happen only when people are willing to cooperate. Willing means if you know that parents try to increase your willingness to support them, isn't it? By doing some this and that type of things. Isn't it? तो जिस दिन काम निकलवाना होता है आपसे, parents know how to behave. Isn't it? This. The willingness to cooperate increases that day. This, that way we can consider. So, if government appeals to you to do something, will people act? Depends on how they are willing. And willingness depends on how they are satisfied by the government. Not only by the government, but by the all successive governments. Your satisfaction will not be only linked to present government, rather the successive governments coming, let's say, since independence. This way. So governments are also trying to improve your willingness so that you can cooperate. This ultimate sense. So these are some ideas which became basis for formulation of his whatever the contributions we have given. You can see that he will bring a very dynamic aspect of organization to explain his concepts and principles. So you should know that Follett talked about social, psychological, situational factors, but they were not that clear as he did not go into those aspects. But when Chester Barnard is formulating, he is making those things clear and in a more broader way. And on this background, he went on writing his one book that is called The Functions of Executive. It is 1937-38. When कई बार बच्चे जब गलत लिखते हैं तो खुद का फैक्ट्स डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है आंसर्स में. दैट्स दिस. तो पहले डाउट नहीं होता था, अब डाउट हो गया है. I think 38 या 37 होगा. 38. Mhm. 37, 38, 39. Anyhow, so it was considered as a landmark development. You can consider that it is landmark development simply because Nicholas Henry does not consider Elton Mayo as important as Chester Barnard. Yes. Because you know that challenge, era of challenge start with this. We had paradigm, you know that paradigm second, and paradigm second is 1927 to 1937. This, and then era of challenge starts. Era of challenge, and it starts with 1938, and it is because of this. So he considers the thinkers can have their own consideration. That is how the landmark contribution by Chester Barnard. This book is still taught at PhD level, even in IIMs. The functions of executive. It is also taught in Japan, let's say. It is very important, let's say, contribution, but बहुत ही difficult book. I will not talk in beginning, we will talk in criticism. Right. This, anyhow, so these are, let's say, that positive things about Chester Barnard. So let's start. Then we'll explain one by one. Right? So let's write. Chester Barnard is considered the first behavioral thinker and a spiritual father of behavioral school and a spiritual father of behavioral school. Who introduced idea of cooperative social system and gestalt psychology to formulate his theories and principles. Which continue to inspire thinkers. Change in paragraph. As against Taylor idea of men material machine. He considers organization as a dynamic entity of conscious and coordinative activities of two or more persons. He analyzed organizations' internal dynamics. Through first cooperative social system. Internal dynamics through first cooperative social system. Second, Gestalt psychology. Gestalt psychology. This third, three limitations. Three limitations in bracket biological, social, and physical. Next, the three elements of organization. Within that, next point, three elements of organization: common purpose, communication, and willingness to cooperate. Willingness to cooperate. This, on the basis of these ideas, he formulated his theories and principles. He formulated his theories and principles. Formulated his theories and principles, which carry empirical relevance. And helped in foundation of behavioral school of thought. Which was further advanced by Herbert Simon. Herbert Simon. So this is how, let's say this. So we'll explain a bit, but these are not part of our main discussion. You should know that. Main discussion should be, then we should start those contributions. But instead of, let's say directly going to, we'll explain a bit what these things, and then we'll talk one by one. So let's try this. The three elements of organization. First, common purpose. Next, communication. Next, willingness to cooperate. Change paragraph. Since cooperation assumes special importance for Chester Barnard. He analyzed human behavior and found that first, people can cooperate if there is common purpose. In bracket, for public cause, people are willing to cooperate. Second, communication. Effective communication can help in improving willingness of people improving willingness of people to cooperate. In bracket you can write, he gave 7 principles of communication. He gave 7 principles of communication. And third, willingness to cooperate. It depends on level of satisfaction. It depends on level of satisfaction. Like government appeals to people. Government appeals to people for cooperation, participation. Government appeals to people for cooperation, participation. In bracket you can write Gram Sabha meeting. But people may not turn up. Due to lack of satisfaction. Next point, separate point, let's say. Organization as a cooperative social system. Organization as a cooperative social system. Since he introduced systems perspective, that is, classical thinkers considered organization. This consider organization as closed system. Barnard considers an open system. That is, organization's outside environment. Outside environment had profound impact on organization. He identified 3 such environmental factors. Ecological, environmental factors, physical, it can be let's try that. Due to these factors, organization would not be able to achieve its optimum productivity unless people cooperate to overcome these limitations. limitations. That is, there must be cooperative social action. There must be cooperative social action. Cooperative social action. And that can become possible. That can become possible only when first there is effective leadership. There is effective leadership. Next, effective communication. Effective communication. Next, willingness of people to cooperate. Willingness of people to cooperate. People accept the authority of superior. People accept the authority of superior. Next, and last, organization takes decision. Organization takes decisions on critical factors. On critical factors. Organization takes decision on critical factors. Change paragraph. And that's why he went on formulating his theories and principles on these subjects. Theories and principles on these subjects. So let's take that one by one we'll take. This is called functions of executive. Functions of executive. This. The title of book was also The Functions of Executive. The Functions of Executive. Executive here means a leader or manager in organization. A leader or manager in organization. Executive here means a leader or manager in organization. In organization. This. He considered that an executive should perform following roles. Executive should perform following roles. First, devising strategies on how to overcome limitations. How to overcome limitations. How to overcome limitations. Right? In bracket you can write, the present government has taken radical policy decisions to overcome limitations of subsistence type growth. Next, devising a system of communication. to connect with people in organization, to connect with people in organization. In bracket, the present government has created my government portal, मन की बात, परीक्षा पे चर्चा, to connect with people, Next, the leader should be exemplary. In brackets, like Prime Minister plays an exemplary role. Including political will to taking bold decisions. Young civil servants have also been exemplary. Getting rewarded through Prime Minister Excellence Award. Next, the leader should take a strategic decision. In bracket, the present government has taken some strategic decisions. Like digital public infrastructure. Next, he gave 5 characteristics of a leader. They are all scientists. You should give scientist example or that. Otherwise, most leaders will not be qualifying that. तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर के बारे में बोल दिया, बट उससे ज़्यादा झूठ नहीं बोल सकते. पॉजिटिव लिख सकते हैं, राइट, बट उसका भी एक लिमिटेशन होना चाहिए. तो on responsibility front, you know that governments, they are not, let's say, they are not responsible. They have not accepted responsibility. They have not taken responsibility. The moral responsibility is something, you know, that as far as intelligence and wisdom is concerned, that's also, let's say, this will not suit to Prime Minister. He can have leadership. That's another thing. Other factors he may have, vitality, endurance, and decisiveness. But as far as responsibility is concerned and intelligence is concerned, that will not conform. So that's why you should avoid giving that example. Otherwise, it will be considered unnecessary. This. His main aspect, as we were saying, that he teaches about moral responsibility. A leader is one who should accept responsibility. This, and you know that even Orvig told that a superior should have absolute acceptance of responsibility on behalf of subordinates. You should know this. There has been no any responsibility type thing in the government. Rather, government has, although again I should not speak that way, but in last 10 years, government has portrayed the things in such a way that the accountability goes to people. it shrugs itself off from accountability, and people are held accountable. People are subject to that level, not government. This kind of thing happens. And there is a recurring phenomenon. Things have been recurring, not once, twice, thrice, like this. And initially, let's say there was something clean government it will be, but that has also, that how the corruption and other things have become, and even corruption goes to even, let's say that Ram temple. This, so corruption goes in that way, let's say that. So as far as, but I will not talk that aspect. What we are trying to say, what he is trying to say, that a leader is one who is not only the first three but also responsible. Unless leader is responsible, people will not accept. Acceptance, that. So authority will not be accepted. And when authority will not be accepted, willingness of the people will be less in organization. And when willingness will be less of the people, so then they will be less to cooperate this way. So he gave something emphasis on moral aspect, which has been taken forward in the field of leadership. Today, any such leader who is not ethical, he cannot survive that way. So that kind of things, let's say that he will talk, and that's why it was, let's say, very prominent when we talk about responsibility aspect of the leadership. If you take any one example in this, all are that responsible people, they take responsibility, that. They take responsibility that कि नारायण मूर्ति चाहे तो पूरे लाइफ लॉन्ग जो है इन्फोसिस को, because they are the founder, why they will leave इन्फोसिस. हमारे यहाँ तो पता ही है आपको क्या चलता है, as long as you are alive, this on wheelchair also you can work, isn't it? Yes. But इन्फोसिस के लोगों ने अपने आप को डिसोसिएट कर लिया. This to give chance to the upcoming generation to run that company. This is another responsibility. So they dissociate, Nandan Nilekani and Narayan Murthy, this that way. Even Ratan Tata also dissociated, that. And Cyrus Mistry was made, but then something happened, he came back. This. So that is what the leaders, let's say that, they take responsibility at certain point and they will leave the organization. That is one aspect of responsibility. But आपको पता है हमारे देश में power कौन छोड़ना चाहता है? Yes, ours is a country which is youngest country in the world, led by oldest leaders in the world. This, ये भी paradox है. This. So that way you can consider this. This you can consider. And we'll share basically in leadership, when we'll take leadership topic, let's say, there. But since it is responsibility, क्या होता है? So Satish Dhawan was a leader, that. And Satish Dhawan was ISRO head that time. APJ Abdul Kalam was project director. And the satellite launch was, let's say, it went off, let's say, it failed. The attempt to launch a satellite, it failed. So when it failed, let's say that, so Kalam was worried, sweating and uncomfort, because media को क्या बताएंगे, और media तो तिल का ताड़ बनाती है, isn't it? You know that. Media loves criticizing. मीडिया ने कभी इसरो के ऊपर कभी भी कोई ऐसा प्रोग्राम नहीं किया होगा कि कैसे उन्होंने स्ट्रगल किया और क्या अचीव किया. बट मीडिया ये ज़रूर प्रोग्राम रन करेगी अगर वो फेल हो जाएंगे तो. एनी हाउ, तो सतीश धवन टोल्ड दैट कि आई वुड गो एंड एड्रेस मीडिया. बस वो चाहते तो बोलते कि जाओ तुम प्रोजेक्ट डायरेक्टर हो, इट इज योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. He was the boss, but he told no, I will address media. And he told to media very clearly, no kowtowing, कि हमें पता नहीं चला अभी, मुझे पता नहीं है अभी. जानते लीडर्स बोलते हैं ना, पॉलिटिकल लीडर, मीडिया वाले पूछेंगे किसी ने बोला है ऐसा, तो आई हैव नॉट येट रिसीव्ड इंफॉर्मेशन. ठीक दिस है. तो उसके पास बैम्बू फोन है, अभी तक कहाँ आया उसके पास मैसेज, आया ही नहीं है. दिस anyhow, so he told very clearly कि we have failed, today we have failed, but tomorrow we'll succeed, that's all. This next time when satellite was launched, it was successful. Now Satish Dhawan told Kalam that you go, it is your time now. You go and address media. That is leadership. So this is what you can consider, that ki a leader is one who takes responsibility, right? Yes.
Is there any positive or negative connotation to leadership? Like all these qualities can be fulfilled by even who stop doing nothing.
No, it cannot be, because the responsibility factor is moral. Moral does not mean, try to understand कि just taking responsibility. Moral means also right. So we cannot apply these things to Hitler and Osama bin Laden or Stalin, let's say this. We cannot apply. Certainly they will not talk about them. Right. This because people will not accept their responsibility. People, followers accept responsibility by the time they have been brainwashed. The day they will develop their own wisdom, you know what happens. They reject. Right. Those who follow them, they are brainwashed people, indoctrinated. They have been indoctrinated. राइट. जिस दिन वो इंडॉक्ट्रिनेटेड आपने रिमूव किया, तो दे विल नो द ट्रू फेस. So that's why it will not satisfy to them. Here the leader is not indoctrinating and accepting followers. Let's say you have to accept me. Na? Both there is a very different aspect here. Right. So that way we can consider. Right. Same thing you can talk about Ratan Tata. You know that Ratan Tata, after Mumbai attack and his hotel that was attacked, you know that. So damage happened, etc. happened, and employees were affected. But they were given, let's say, compensation. All employees who were accepted, they were given compensation. They were given ex gratia help. And damage happened, whatever to that hotel. They did not seek any compensation from the government. They themselves, let's say that, rebuilt that. And no any deduction from the salary, let's say, people, those who certain number of time they did not come to. That kind of thing is considered like this. इनफैक्ट टाटाज आर नोन फॉर दैट. ये तो बहुत ही छोटी बात है उनके लिए. ठीक है. ए कंपनी विच स्पेंड्स 65% ऑफ इट्स प्रॉफिट ऑन कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. TCS, 65% of its profit goes to corporate social responsibility. Yes. That is very unique. उसका तो एग्जाम्पल थी, तो टिप ऑफ आइसबर्ग है. अगर आप तो होटल वाली बात करते हैं मुंबई अटैक. So leaders are that. That is how he was trying to talk, let's say this. So let's write on this. In five characteristics, he included responsibility. As a moral factor. Moral factor in leader. Leader. That means a leader should assume responsibility. responsibility of whatever happens in organization, whatever happens in organization, without moral obligation, without moral obligation, leader will not be accepted in organization. Leader will not be accepted in organization. Organization. His acceptance theory of authority, his acceptance theory of authority incorporates the responsibility characteristics of a leader. The responsibility characteristics of a leader. And the theories of leadership, which emerged during 50s and 60s, also incorporated responsibility factor. Change paragraph. In fact, contemporary styles of leadership like authentic leadership, servant style of leadership, are based on morality in leadership. So that is how about functions of executive. Then let's say formal and informal organization. Natural. I'm struggling that let's call natural. It will come. I will write this. Let's write further on that. Unlike Elton Mayo, unlike Elton Mayo, who rejected formal organization, Barnard considers both as important, both formal and informal organizations important. One cannot exist without the other. One cannot exist without the other. Without the other. Formal organization brings certainty and predictability. Formal organization brings certainty and predictability. But since it is based on closed system, it is prone to disintegration. It is prone to disintegration or negative entropy. Or positive entropy. It's in paragraph. Informal organization, which is, let's say, it is not yet a right word, but which is instantaneous. Which is instantaneous. brings positive energy. Which helps in survival of organization. Right. It is considered as shock absorber of formal organization. Although it is prone to uncertainty, and even it can bring rumors. Next, organizations promote informal groups or less formal groups. Like labor unions, employee associations, IAS association, and other different types of groups. Therefore, Barnard gave a formal recognition to informal organization, which was invented by Elton Mayo. Through Hawthorne experiments. through Hawthorne experiments. Hawthorne experiments, right? So see, it has just relevance in terms of understanding. They have not asked any question on formal informal, right? But you should know that how it can help in survival of formal organization. This the informal organization, as we told you that students go to school and they enjoy more about their groups and friends rather than school per se. And the day friends do not come, then they also do not want to go. No friend is coming, I will also not go. Isn't it? The same thing in organizations also happen. If you do not have informal organization, so you know that lots of things happen in organization, and you can be in a very negative mood. You can consider, you can be frustrated also. Even let's say you may offer to quit that organization. If there are your friends, groups, etc., they can help you in, let's say that overcoming that negative emotions. Let's say that is absorber. They can help in absorbing your negative energy. And when they help in your absorbing negative energy, so that is how they are helping formal organization to survive. Yes. That's why even organizations can, as we told you that ventilating grievance is one thing. Government क्यों चाहिए IAS association? Why government has created IAS association? Yes. IAS को एसोसिएशन की क्या जरूरत है? But you have lots of grievances which you individually cannot communicate. But if you get opportunity through this, you can divulge your all negative energy through this platform, IAS association. Oh, today there is a meeting of IAS association and you can go and attend the meeting, talk all those things. So once आपका जितना grudges है वो बाहर आ गया, you will go as a relieved person. That happens. That is how it's rolled. तो government को भी पता है then you have grievances and they may not address your grievances. They may not, governments or organizations can never address your all grievances. So that is how he was trying to recognize, that is how the relevance. The next part is principles of organization. Principles of organization, principles of communication. Principles of communication. Since negative entropy. See, entropy is a physics concept. उसका मतलब होता है randomness. Right. Randomness is something that is kind of lack of certainty, you know that. This entropy per se is something random, something that it has a tendency to disintegrate. So that entropy we say as positive entropy. पॉजिटिव कहने से कोई मतलब नहीं है, बट वो कहने का तरीका है ताकि नेगेटिव वाला समझ में आए आपको. So when you say negative entropy, the entropy itself is negative. And you say negative, the negative, positive. Right. Your 10 plus 2 mathematics. Right. So that way, let's say. So entropy we are using, we'll use it also later on, system theory. Last year they have asked this entropy in question. तो लोगों का एंट्रोपी खराब किया UPSC ने. Right. So very less people know that, although we used to teach entropy and system theory. But first time I have mentioned here, since अब वो question आ गया है तो लैंग्वेज में भी आ जाएगा. That is how it happens. और अगर वो क्वेश्चन नहीं आता है तो we do not use generally. तो this way things go on. Right? Is it clear? The positive entropy is something where you have disintegration. Negative entropy is something where it brings integration. Right? This way. So we'll explain when we'll take system theory like this. Right? Let's write this. Since communication was considered by Barnard, one of the three elements of organization. One of the three elements of organization. He gave elaborate focus on. He gave elaborate focus on principles of communication. Principles of communication. He considers communication an important internal dynamics, and if followers do not understand communication, they will not accept authority. They will not accept authority of leader. He gave 7 principles of communication. Seven principles of communication. First, written communication. Written communication. Next, formal channel of communication. Next, direct line of communication. Next, every communication must be authenticated. In bracket you can write fact check unit of Information Bureau. Fact check unit of PIB. Basically, PIB has set up one fact check unit. Fact check unit of PIB. Next, it's intelligibility of communication. This in bracket. It should be understood by followers. Next, consistency of communication. Next, capability of communication. In bracket, those who communicate, they should be mentally, physically able to They should be mentally and physically are in a position to communicate. Are in a position to communicate. Change paragraph. That is, he gave emphasis on formal communication. He gave emphasis on formal communication in organization. Formal communication in organization. Yes. Even if he was a behavioral thinker. Even if he was a behavioral thinker. However, in his principles, he also incorporated. However, in his principles, he also incorporated the behavioral factors in terms of intelligibility, feasibility factors. So that is what about communication we can consider. Now we'll take next, finally, contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. So basically he will talk that contribution. If you take contribution like something, contribution is as A and satisfaction is as B. So equilibrium is basically either this satisfaction B should be greater or equal to A. This B should be either bigger, better, greater or equal. This. So if it is, it will result into survival of B. This. So while dealing this, he dealt with motivation, right? You know that remuneration is one thing, incentive, reward is how we can improve satisfaction. This. So satisfaction, or let's say that survival of people we can improve not only by monetary factors. This is already he criticized, know that Taylor, he was a critic to that. So he focused on 8 different types of motivational factors. This is to know that. 8 different types. 4 which he called a specific, 4 he called a general. Those 8 factors, if organization ensures, then an individual satisfaction will be more than contribution, and then individual can survive. This. Otherwise, individual will not survive. So that part, survival, we'll talk a bit later. First, we'll talk on what are those motivational factors. Right. So let's write on that. Right. Right. In his equilibrium model, Barnard also gave focus on motivational factors. Motivational factors as survival of people in organization depended. Survival of people in organization depended on level of satisfaction. Level of satisfaction. Level of satisfaction. Next, satisfaction. Satisfaction does not only depend on monetary factors. Satisfaction does not only depend on monetary factors. Barnard had already criticized Taylor for his economic man concept. Taylor for his economic man concept. Economic man concept. Because money did not work as motivation factor. Money did not work as motivational factor beyond a level. Beyond a level. In bracket, once performance stabilizes. Once performance stabilizes. It means he rejected mono-motivational factor. He rejected mono-motivational concept. Mono, M-O-N-O. Mono-motivational concept and gave multi-dimensional concept of motivation. Multi-dimensional concept of motivation. Concept of motivation. Next, 8 motivational factors. 8 motivational factors, 4 specific, 4 general. 4 general. Let's write this. The 4 specific factors were first. The 4 specific factors were first. Material inducement. Material inducement. Inducement in bracket, monetary factors. Monetary factors. Next, non-material inducement. Non-material inducement like power, prestige, recognition. Power, prestige, recognition. Recognition in bracket, ego needs. Ego needs. Next, desirable physical conditions. Desirable physical conditions in bracket, good physical environment. Next, ideal benefaction. Ideal benefaction. It means opportunity to show. Opportunity to show. Altruistic behavior. Altruistic behavior. Altruistic behavior like patriotism. Patriotism, pride of workmanship. Pride of workmanship, etc. Next, General motivational factors. General motivational factors. First, associated attractiveness. Associated attractiveness. Associated attractiveness in brackets. Human is a social being. Human is a social being. And social relationship, groups, community. Nowadays, WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group. आपको पता है कि आजकल ऑफिस में भी व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप होता है बस तो एक तो मान लो कि फॉर्मल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप होता है, सारे लोग होते हैं। आजकल व्हाट्सएप पे ही काम होता है, उसको बोला गया है व्हाट्सएप गवर्नेंस। वन डे विल टीच यू दैट आल्सो, व्हाट्सएप गवर्नेंस राइट। तो देयर इज वन फॉर्मल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, जैसे कि दिल्ली मान लो तो दिल्ली MCD एटसेट्रा, इट विल हैव ए फॉर्मल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप। तो ऑल विल बी देयर फ्रॉम म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर टू एम्प्लॉई टू मेयर एटसेट्रा, ऑल विल बी देयर। ये तो फॉर्मल हो गया। अब इसमें कोई चैट करना चाहेगा नहीं, इजंट इट। अब इसी में से अलग अलग ग्रुप बनेंगे right. So some will form their own informal group, right? And first they will cook information there, right? And once they get a consensus, so they will post that information here, isn't it? ये post करना है कि नहीं, isn't it? Should I post? What do you think? Right? And then they will post that. So that is a kind of, WhatsApp group. बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है ये, राइट। इसलिए कि फिर वो वही बच्चों वाली, isn't it? तो यू शुड नो, हालांकि ये सब एग्जाम्पल बाद में बताना चाहिए। You remember this name, later on it will come, Ambar Dubey. So Ambar Dubey was one lateral entrant. We'll teach one day lateral entry. Through lateral entry, you know that. He resigned. Yes. And one grievance was that he was not included in WhatsApp group. Right. Yes. तो IAS का अपना ग्रुप होता है, उसमें नॉन IAS का कोई right. He felt humiliated. Yes. So this is what you can consider importance of all these things, right? Next point. Adaptation, let's say. Right. Adaptation of conditions. That is, the work culture should be flexible, adaptive. Work culture should be flexible and adaptive. Adaptive. In bracket, healthy work culture versus toxic work culture. Toxic work culture. Toxic work culture, EY. EY means Ernst and Young. This Ernst and Young, let's say, one employee committed suicide. One employee committed suicide. Right. This. So basically, let's say that these are, just we are trying to relate it, what he is talking. So work culture should be flexible, healthy, supportive, ये नहीं कि you know that कि you go first day and you are very novice type, तो आपको लोगों ने बोला you are so immature, ये वो किसने सेलेक्ट किया, isn't it this? तो they will start doubting this way, तो आप फ्रस्ट्रेटेड हो जाओगे। तो इसी तरह से एक आईपीएस ने कमिट कर लिया सुसाइड। हालांकि नेगेटिव नहीं, लेट्स से व्हाट यू से दैट नो वन आईपीएस इन छत्तीसगढ़ कमिटेड सुसाइड, दिस बिकॉज वन जज ह्यूमिलिएटेड, हाई कोर्ट जज। Basically the case was related to IPS officer in Chhattisgarh, and basically he had two sub-inspector punished. Yes, they may have done whatever, let's say, he punished them and they were under custody. IG of that Chhattisgarh got them released without communicating to SP. So that had already made him furious, you know that. And case was going something like this. Already he was so facing those challenges. And then he related to the same matter, I guess, कि once in a party, let's say, कि judge of high court, etc., he was humiliated by judge. कि you were worse than 4th grade employee. Who made you IPS? वो हर्ट हो गया। अरे दिस, बट हर्ट होना नहीं था ना, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस तो पढ़ा नहीं होगा उन्होंने ठीक से, सिर्फ डेफिनेशन पढ़ के आंसर लिखा होगा, isn't it? Anyhow, with respect to him, देखो जज ने अगर बोला है कि यू आर वर्स देन 4th ग्रेड एम्प्लॉई, ठीक है, तो आप भी कुछ बोल दो जज को, बात खत्म हुआ। राइट, दिस क्या करेगा वो? दिस इज हाउ इट इज, तो डोंट टेक पेन ऑफ दिस anyhow, let's say that just we are telling it, so culture, work culture is very challenging. One girl IAS officer left Haryana, means she quit as IAS and she had Haryana cadre. Yes, the employee who committed suicide in Ernst & Young, she was also, you know that, women. She also committed, so it resulted into lots of debate and this, that. The culture, work culture is very challenging. This is what he was trying to talk. Next point, let's see this. Adoptive. This opportunity for enlarged participation. Opportunity for enlarged participation. Opportunity for enlarged participation. This. So, what is enlarged participation? Let's say that going beyond work and giving opportunity to employees to show their other side of personality. This, like Google has introduced 20% of work time, 20% of work time can be devoted for innovations. Next, condition of communion. Condition of communion. that is spirit de corps fraternity fraternity, feeling of togetherness, feeling of togetherness. In bracket, corporate companies try to inculcate in employees, we are one family, we are one family. One to inculcate in employees, we are one family, one family. No, one earth, one family, one future. ये G20 का थीम था हमारे देश में जब कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ था, बस आई थिंक 2023. This one earth, one family, one future. These things are just to relate. We relate from here there. जो आपको आज नहीं, जब मेंस में आप अपीयर हो गए ना, तब आपको इसका इम्पोर्टेंस समझ में आएगा. और जहाँ एग्जाम्पल नहीं मिलेगा वहाँ आप गाली देंगे कि सर ने बताया नहीं है सब. सॉरी टू से दिस. अभी तो ये आपको बर्डन लगेगा. हाउ मेनी थिंग्स वी हैव टू नो. तो वी डोंट हैव टुडे इन माइंड. आज क्या सोचते हो आप? मुझे वो याद है मुझे कि गाली मत देना. Right. So yesterday one student came of 2023 batch. She is writing mains, you know that, right? So she was trying to show some answers she wrote. Like it is her first mains. Let's this. So all answers were written without fact, no any fact written. This. So then के आई टोल्ड कि भाई मतलब मुझे मेरे भी माइंड में है कि क्या मैंने फैक्ट्स बताया नहीं है. बस फैक्ट्स एग्जाम्पल्स दे प्ले वेरी की रोल ना. आप आंसर देखोगे यहाँ पर बच्चों का, मेंस वालों का, हर लाइन में एक फैक्ट होता है, हर लाइन में एक एग्जाम्पल होता है. ऐसे आंसर होते हैं आजकल. बस तो लेट्स से कि what has happened? It has become very abstract. Retention नहीं है. There is lack of retention. She has no retention. और जब लंबा हो जाता है मेंस का गैप तो यही होता है. आप समझते हो कि मैं टाइम को यूटिलाइज कर रहा हूँ, बट ऐसा नहीं होता है. वो टाइम इतना अच्छे से यूटिलाइज होता नहीं है. तो अब इस एक महीने में क्या कर सकते हैं? व्हाट शी कैन डू? इसलिए कि और भी सब्जेक्ट्स है. दैट इज अ चैलेंज. तो दैट इज हाउ वी ट्राई टू deliberately tell you examples, facts here and there so that you can retain them, and that time it will help you in writing. So basically what you come to know that कि Chester Barnard is trying to talk those 8 factors. तो you can see क्या क्या वो फोकस कर रहे हैं ना. तो ये सारे 8 फैक्टर्स में टेलर का तो रोल सिर्फ एक ही होगा, ऐसा ही बार्नार्ड, and Taylor is one. So you can imagine the focus of scientific management or classical theory. If you take motivational factors, this many a time, let's say कि you don't know your strength. Many a time study होता है ना. तो स्टडी तो मेन रोल हो गया, isn't it? हॉबी क्या है? इसीलिए तो आपको उसमें लिखना होता है डैफ में हॉबी क्या है, isn't it? वो भी हॉबी तो कुछ होता नहीं है, बनाना पड़ता है. तो मैक्सिमम लोगों का तो हॉबी होता नहीं है हमारे देश में. तो वो मेंस के बाद सोचते हैं कि मेरा हॉबी क्या होगा। ठीक है, तो आजकल 2 हॉबी जो है लर्न कर सकते हैं आप, एक कुकिंग, दूसरा विपासना। ठीक है, दिस वो टेंशन भी दूर करेगा। सो दैट इज तो उनको भी, इंटरव्यू वालों को भी पता होता है कि ये सीख कर क्या है, तो ऐसा इंग्रेडिएंट पूछ देंगे बनाने के लिए कि रेसिपी ही भूल जाएगा। Right. Anyhow, so the question is uh, when you participate, जैसे आपने स्कूल में कभी आपको या कॉलेज में when task was given to organize any function, you may have felt very good. No, if it went well. No, somehow अगर वो खराब हो गया तो right. That is your let's say कि enlarged participation. This is called enlarged participation. So once you are asked in a college or a school to organize any event and you organize well, you realize that oh, I have this ability also. I can do this also. You had ability that you were intelligent in mathematics and history, let's say that, but that also you have this way. So that is called that the organizations give you, or the let's say you many a time you know that you have join IAS, IPS जो भी है या employee या manager, but then कि gradually you may develop let's say that कि interest in playing golf, playing cricket, playing other things. This you know that कि आजकल क्रिकेट मैच भी होता है पूरे पब्लिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, डेलिबरेटली स्पोर्ट्स इवेंट्स होते हैं ना, बस इवेंट जजेस लोग भी आजकल खेलते हैं बस, उसमें कंडीशन यही होता है कि बॉलर शुड नॉट बॉल हिम आउट। राइट, दिस तो these are all get together. Right. This is what he was talking that time. This and these things play important role. That is what broader aspect, right? But he is not only concerned about individual survival. This is for individual survival. He is concerned about organization survival. Barnard will not talk how only people should survive in organization. Right. Then it will not be organization theory. Right. So unless organization survives, people cannot survive. This you should know that. So contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium is more about survival of organization, less about survival of individual. But what people know that it is about survival of individual. This. But he was talking survival of organization, along with that survival of individual. And he will consider survival of organization as efficiency. He will not consider survival of organization as input-output. What is the input? What is the output? No. He has given a dynamic concept of survival. Yes. And how organization will survive? He has given another equation on that. So whatever so far we have discussed, it is about individual survival. And then we will talk about organizational survival. So let's write first few lines on that. By 8 motivational factors. By 8 motivational factors. 8 motivational factors. Barnard talked about survival of individuals. Survival of individuals in organization. In organization. Survival of individuals in organization. In bracket, retention. 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 However, his broader concern was broader concern was survival of organization. And for the survival of organization, he applied both systems perspective. And Gestalt psychology. Systems perspective and Gestalt psychology. Right? So let's take that कि system perspective and Gestalt psychology क्या है. So थोड़ा सा mathematics है इसमें. This, so those who had weak mathematics, so we cannot help, isn't it? But इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है, like you will not be able to understand. I guess कि B and A we chose here something like, yes, so we consider A as contribution, B as incentive, A as contribution. What we are writing here, उल्टा लिख दिया मैंने, right? They get incentive. And employees, they contribute. Let's say that incentive, they get incentive, inducement, or whatever you can consider. So suppose like कि सारे का summation कर दो आप, this summation of all B1 B100, it comes to be, let's X, and it's सारे employees का contribution, that's its Y. Right? It is contribution by all, isn't it? It is. Is it clear? Are you able to understand this much? Yes. तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को सर्वाइवल के लिए इसमें कौन सा बड़ा होना चाहिए? वाई? वाई क्या चाहते हो, बेच देना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को? बड़ा होगा तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सर्वाइव कैसे करेगा? राइट, x should be more than or equal to y. Got it? नहीं. Yes. Let's start with family. Family, let's say that. So, family is as a whole, one entity, right? That's a social entity. Now, family may be, let's say that earning whatever it may be earning, but its spending should be, let's say, not more than what it is earning. Otherwise, family will not survive. This is very simple. This. Take organization. So suppose organization has 100 people. The 100 people, whatever they get in terms of salary, remuneration, incentives, whatever, that totality of the cost, what organization is giving to them, should be less than what they are contributing. Totality. Otherwise, how organization will achieve profit? Yes. Totality. Totality, let's say. What we have written? Acha. What is happening? मैं गलत. X is satisfaction, B is satisfaction. Yes, yes. Y and X. Right. तो when we talk, let me explain that. इसमें nitty-gritty क्या है? देखो, individually when you contribute, individual contribution and individual satisfaction. In case of individual contribution, individual satisfaction, your whatever you are getting return, you expect more than what you contribute, or almost to the level of that. That is how it is. An organization has no problem in giving that individually. But when we talk about organization, both, let's say there are two different things. One, whatever the organization is giving to all individuals, this, so whatever it is giving to all individuals, you can simply do the summation of that. So if 100 individuals are there, so suppose it is paying 10 crore to them. Suppose organization is paying 10 crore to them. But for organizational survival, it should earn either 10 or more than that. So whether 100 people are able to contribute in such a way that the organization is able to generate a revenue of 10 crore or more than that. Certainly it should generate more than 10 crore because organization does not have to pay only remuneration. Organization को तो tax भी pay करना है. Organization has to invest also. Organization has operational cost also, other operational costs. This. In a way, organization may have to earn 20 crore, 30 crore, not only 10 crore. Getting? So whether 100 people are able to contribute together, and that contribution is something more than 10 crore. This. So then organization will survive. It means that summation of each individual contribution should be more than summation of each individual satisfaction. For organization survival. For individual survival, there is no summation. It is just your contribution and satisfaction equation between them. Now, when they can contribute, let's say, together more, they will have to create synergy. They will have to create cascading effect. When 100% work together, it is not just summation is 100. It should be 1000. It should be 2000. They have to create certain synergy. Right? What is that synergy? The synergy is Spain and Portugal. Right? This. So when 11 players play together, they create a synergy, which one person cannot. Isn't it? The 11 players when they play together, तो दोनों टीम में तो 11 players ही होते हैं ना, लेकिन टीम एफर्ट, सिंक्रोनाइजेशन और उसका जो कास्केडिंग इफेक्ट होता है, right? They are not just 11 summation of 11, right? Summation of 11 होता तो दोनों में टाई हो जाता, right? So that coordination, that summation creates certain synergy effect. It is that synergy effect which results into defeat of the other team. Yes. Similarly, when 100 people in any organization are working together, their contribution should be something more than what they can get in return. And each individual contribution summation will be less than all individuals' contribution summation together. This, what does it mean? Whole is more than sum of its parts. Right? That is Gestalt psychology. Whole is more than sum of its parts means if you bring summation of just 11 players, it will be something else. This merely addition. But if you bring the synergy effect of 11 players, it will more than merely sum. So 1 plus 1 is 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. But the synergy effect can bring 11. Not able to understand. देखो कोई भी कंपनी अगर 100% को एम्प्लॉय करती है तो 100 लोग मिलके अगर वो जनरेट नहीं कर पाएंगे रेवेन्यू तो वो कंपनी नहीं सरवाइव करेगी. दिस और वो कंट्रीब्यूशन सिर्फ समेशन नहीं होना चाहिए ईच इंडिविजुअल का, उसमें एक सिनर्जी इफेक्ट होना चाहिए. दिस merely समरी होगा, समेशन होगा तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं सर्वाइव करेगा ना. समेशन इज वेरी, लेट्स से दैट इट इज जस्ट ए क्वांटिटेटिव थिंग. Are they working as a team or are they working as something which is creating a synergy effect? Like आप भी फोन मैन्युफैक्चर कर लो, एप्पल भी फोन मैन्युफैक्चर करता है, दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? अब सोचो एक एप्पल ऐसा कंपनी है जो गूगल से भी बड़ा है, बट गूगल का रीच बड़ा है, बट एप्पल का टर्नओवर बड़ा है. You know this. Google, Apple is bigger than Google. उसका टोटल टर्नओवर आप देखोगे तो गूगल से बड़ा है. But that's not point we are discussing. Let's take एप्पल फोन होगा, सबके पास आजकल होता है, isn't it? उसका पार्ट्स जो होता है आप निकाल दो, जो चाइनीज भी हो सकता है, ठीक है. बट होल, जब एप्पल फोन बनता है होल, तो होल का इमेज बड़ा होता है. जस्ट पार्ट्स का समरी कर दो. गेटिंग दिस? यू वांट टू बाई ए प्रोडक्ट दैट इज होल. यू डोंट वांट टू बाई असेंबल्ड फोन. बहुत ही कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव होगा, बट क्यों नहीं बाई करना चाहते आप? Why don't you want to buy assembled phone? असेंबल कंप्यूटर, असेंबल बहुत सारे, पहले सारे जब लोग कंप्यूटर नहीं खरीद पाते थे तो नेहरू प्लेस जाते थे. आपको पता है, यू नो दैट एशियाज बिगेस्ट मार्केट, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मार्केट, नेहरू प्लेस इन दिल्ली. तो वहाँ पे आपको जो भी चाहिए मिल जाएगा, सब कुछ असेंबल्ड, राइट दिस एनी हाउ। तो मान लो कि असेंबल्ड, लेट मी टेल दैट आई शेयर्ड यू स्टोरी कि दिस LG इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स in 2020 when we were buying this, so it was very costly that time, this, and so we also ask options कि और क्या option है this. So we have one our let's say that कि vendor, वो he supplies us all electronic things like this. So we have a developer, let's say कि familiar relation we can consider. So we ask our option क्या है, तो he gave 2 more options. One is Chinese product, Max Hub, I told you that. तो मैंने बोला ये तो ऑप्शन है ही नहीं यार, यहाँ एंटी चाइना चल रहा है, हम चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट लेके आएंगे। तो देयर वाज अ लैग, राइटिंग लैग, इफ यू राइट इट विल कम लेट, दिस दैट वाज, ही गेट टोल्ड दैट कि देयर इज अनदर ऑप्शन, दैट इज इंडियन ऑप्शन, assembled, right? He told that कि there is one company in India which assembles this board, this. तो मेरे माइंड में पिक्चर आया कि लिखते लिखते अगर वो बोर्ड मान लो कि डिसएम्बल हो गया तो but that price was just 40% of this price, very, let's say that cost effective. But you did not buy that. Why? The whole aspect of holistic feeling of this board is much more than the assembled one, right? The sum of parts. What is it trying to do? Sum of parts. और वो आपको convince करेगा कि same parts होंगे जो इसमें हैं. It will be the same part, but it is assembled. It is not by company, right? But people will buy this. क्यों? Since people will buy this, the company which is delivering it has created something whole, and that whole का जो image आपके mind में बन रहा है, that is attractive, that, and that's why you buy Apple phone, this. So, and because of that it is able to earn profit. It has created certain synergy. Who has created that synergy? So each and everything of Apple has together created synergy. Its design, its look, this बहुत सारी चीजें. I'm not the expert in that mobile business, but just to tell it, it's let's say कि you like it, the way this symbol image have the Apple, think कैसे आया होगा, सिर्फ white ही रहेगा वो. एक नॉर्मल डिजाइनर वाले को बोल दो डिजाइन करने के लिए तो वो 10 कलर बना देगा. Isn't it? If you ask any designer ना, तो डिजाइन का मतलब क्या होता है, 4-5 कलर तो होना ही चाहिए. But just they kept just white. No, if you open your laptop, etc., it is just a white line. But that also appeals you. So that is what it is creating certain synergy. Right. So all everything coming together, they create certain which attract you. This, and that value has become profit. This you can say, and that is what Chester Barnard is saying. Right. So he is not talking to calculate profit in terms of input क्या है, output क्या है. He is talking a very dynamic thing. This. And that is how it is. So I guess whether you are able to understand what he is talking. This is idea of efficiency in organization, which is very behavioral, which is very dynamic, different from what classical theory can think. तो बार्नार्ड नहीं बोल सकते assemble वाला प्रोडक्ट अच्छा था बार्नार्ड टेलर के हिसाब से तो. No, according to Taylor, let's say that the assembled one is good, it is efficient, cost effective. This nano car, cost effective, but लोगों ने खरीदा नहीं. क्यों? द होल वैल्यू नहीं क्रिएट कर पाया वो, द वैल्यू ऑफ होल इट वॉज नॉट एबल टू क्रिएट, राइट। अब जाकर के टाटास के जो आ रहे हैं कार, उसके जो डिजाइन्स हैं, isn't it? जो लुक है, मुझे लगता है कि लोगों को अच्छा लग रहा है. Still, I'm not expert in that, but I can observe on roads, let's say that, some cars, Tata cars, etc., new version, this, तो उससे पता चलता है कि लगता है कि अब लोगों को अच्छा लगने लगा है. तो they just manufactured a cost-effective one, but they did not focus on other thing. Let's say its design, its look, you can say, which can attract people. Even if it is cost effective, but still people are not buying it. When people are not buying it, the tailor was not concerned about this, whether people will buy or not. Tailor was concerned कि भैया आप कार बना के छोड़ दो, isn't it? It is anyhow. So that we can say this, let's say this, then it means that some employees will get more than contribution and some less than contribution. No, it's not like that. How? This. So that way we can consider, it's not like that someone will get, someone is writing, it is not someone will get less, someone will get more, right? It will be as per their contributions. This. He will not go in nitty-gritty details what organizations are paying. He is trying to formulate a theory on that, right? Just will summarize on this. Let's write on this. For organization survival, for organization survival, organization survival, he introduced a dynamic equation, that summation of contribution of all, should be equal or more than, satisfaction of summation of all, right? This will result into survival of organization. This. He gave a very broad concept of efficiency. Which was different from efficiency of classical thinkers. So further we'll explain tomorrow on this.